Gone are the days of endless to-do lists and aimless productivity. One of the greatest lessons I've learned since adopting a minimalist mindset has been how to manage my time in a way that ensures I'm focused on what matters most. At the beginning of this year, I decided to try a new weekly planning strategy, and essentially a new strategy for planning everything in my life. And since then, it's brought so much concentration and purpose to my days, so I'm going to be sharing that with you in this video. A quick thank you to Aura for sponsoring today's video. I'll be talking more about them in a little bit. As a stay-at-home mom and full-time YouTuber, it is even more important now that I'm super intentional about how I spend my time. This revamped planning method that I use has honestly elevated my productivity in surprisingly simple ways, and it's also helped to bring some clarity to what could be chaos. So if you're looking for inspiration on how to make the most out of your days and reduce the overwhelm that's sometimes associated with planning them, keep watching. If you've been on my channel for a little while, then you've probably seen snippets of my personal dashboard. If you're new here, this is it. This is my own little headquarters in a sense, and I have different departments for all of the components in my life. Finance, YouTube, meal planning, cleaning, you name it. In creating this dashboard, I've been able to automate a lot of the things that were previously very tedious for me. Most relevant to this video is my weekly schedule, where I have buttons that automate the tasks that I do every single week. What's great about using Notion is that I can move, erase, and add anything that I want to, so while I have these repeat checklists, there's still flexibility for change, but I get to start with some type of structure rather than having to make a list from scratch every single day, because that alone can be very overwhelming. One major factor of the personal dashboard that I super appreciate is the ability to have everything in one place. Talk about streamlining, right? I used to have a Google Drive full of Google Docs, Excel sheets. I had a physical planner. I still have it because sometimes I use the pages, but I had a journal. I had physical papers, binders to track all the things that I had to deal with and plan in my life. And now I've been able to consolidate into this one platform. So if you're someone who's in a similar situation and you've just got all the bits and bobs everywhere, you might really appreciate this too. It has truly simplified so much for me and made it easier to get things done, especially the things that were previously very, very tedious to do because they weren't placed as conveniently. I have my budget, YouTube schedule, gratitude journal, daily planner, monthly calendar, meal planning, and more in one place. How amazing is that? I've also found myself to be much more consistent in keeping up with my good habits. For example, tracking my low buy progress, because it's so easy for me to access when I simply click on this one platform and go into my personal dashboard. There's really no excuse for me to not do it. So in harnessing the power of convenience in this way, I've definitely found myself to have much more mental clarity because I'm not bouncing back and forth from tool to tool. I knew when I created my personal dashboard that I wanted a place to list out all of the things that energize me and that truly make me happy, because these are the things that set me up for success in all of the other areas of my life. So I've incorporated them into my daily plans with the click of a button. This has majorly reduced the friction of needing to add them to my to-do list every single day, and I definitely find that even though they're things that I can do out of habit and don't necessarily need to have on my to-do list, in those busier days where, the day just flies by, I've found it really helpful to at least have that visual cue to remind myself, if I haven't done it earlier in the day, to get it done now. Because when I carve out time in my day to do these things, I definitely find that I show up as a better version of myself for my family and also in my work. Aura is my go-to app for all things mindfulness and well-being. While I'm typically all about a less is more approach, when it comes to caring for my mental health, I have found it to be so much more helpful to have a variety of options to choose from. With the Aura app in specific, I really appreciate that I can actually choose a coach or a therapist that I vibe the most with, because I've tried other apps in the past and they felt very limited in this way, almost as if they were trying to do a one-size-fits-all approach. Aura provides an extensive selection of content, everything from meditations to breath work work to story time, and it's personalized for you. And over time, as you listen more, it actually finds out what works for you best. So for me, whether it's 5 minutes that I have to spare to listen to an inspiring story, or I'm feeling a wave of emotions and I need instant relief, Aura always has a personalized track ready for me to listen to. This app has definitely been the best one I've tried so far in dealing with my emotions in a healthy way and just staying consistent with my mindfulness practice. If you're new to mindfulness practice, I think Aura would be a really great app for you to start with because they have literally everything. You can get started for free on Aura's website using my link in the description, and the first 500 people will get a free trial as well as an exclusive 25% off. I know I'm not the only one who feels like there's 1,000 balls to juggle at any given moment. There is personal responsibility, professional work, social responsibility, hobbies, cooking, cleaning, the list goes on, and it can be all too overwhelming when we try to make sense of it all at once. I know for me, this has always been true because my life has never been about just one thing. I don't think anybody's life really is, but making a to-do list while keeping track of all of those moving parts can be stressful. So my new way of dealing with it is by identifying the repeat tasks in my life, weekly, monthly, and annually. I have them all within a hidden toggle in my dashboard so that I don't drop the ball. You know, things can get forgotten. It is definitely a part of life, but in having them there, I have a visual reminder and I can always go into that checklist to see what still needs to be done and plan my weeks accordingly. It also prevents me from having to write these things down in the random moments that I remember I need to do them. It's taken a lot of the effort out of planning and keeping track of everything. Gone are the days where I would add 3 or more priorities to my to-do list. When I think back on those times, it's clear to me how unclear my goals really were at that time, and also how confused I was about time management. Because really, if there's more than one priority written down, how does one decide what's more important and how much time to dedicate to each task? It's kind of like an impossible balancing game in my mind. What's changed this in a huge way for me has been simply creating one slot in each day plan for one priority so that everything else on my to-do list can take a back seat within reason. Because I don't have to worry about other major checklist items, I can focus on the one priority at hand without the added overwhelm and stress of more to do. Sometimes I'll think of random tasks that aren't time sensitive and not super important in the given moment. For example, filling out my daughter's baby book. But if I don't write them down somewhere, they constantly circulate in my head and they pop up again from time to time at random moments. So this is where my pending to-do list comes in handy. It's basically just a list of the unimportant and deadline-free tasks, and it's at the very bottom of my dashboard so that I can't get distracted by it. When I'm planning my week ahead and I find that I've got, a time slot to do something that isn't in my regular tasks, I can refer to the pending to-do list and pick and choose what I want to do. I used to immediately add these types of tasks to my current to-do list, and it was such a big waste of time and energy that should have been focused on more important matters. Out of all the planning methods I've tried, both digitally and on paper, this personal dashboard has by far been the most effective and easiest to keep up with due to its simple structure and flexibility. It's definitely brought more intentionality to my days, and in the process, it's helped me achieve multiple goals already. I've actually made this into a template on Notion so that you can try it out for yourself and tweak it to the way that you like to operate. I'll link that below for you. And if you're on a planning binge, I've got another video where I outline my simple meal planning process. It is stress-free and super quick, so I'll leave that up here if you'd like to watch. Thank you, Aura, for sponsoring today's video, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.